kind of feel at home a little bit more here. Um, it's a little bit different having our media day right now since we've been in training camp. But I know most of you have been out on the football field. You kind of see the rotation a little bit that we've been working with the on the offensive and defensive side, and of course our specialists. But kind of like where we are. Weather has cooperated with us, like the schedule that we have. Um, so just getting into detail a little bit. Offensively, talk about offense first. You know, we went into camp. We talked about competition. Uh, you know, a lot of times you go in, you kind of have the starters established, and that's not ideal, you know, for the coaching staff. We want competition and the players to feel like they need to prove something each day. We've gotten good play with that at the quarterback position. All the guys have had their moments where they've gotten reps. But once you start playing guys and giving them reps, they kind of tell you who should get a little bit more, and that's kind of where we are right now. Of course, we don't have a starter or haven't named a starter, any of that. We just like the progress of, you know, A.J. Bush coming in, first time running offense. So that's been neat to watch him. You notice him, you hear him, which is a good thing. And of course, Cam Thomas has been, you know, ran offense in the spring. He's done some good things. And then it's about, you know, we have 3 freshman quarterbacks and letting them compete to get that rotation down. So we'll continue to work through that. Tomorrow night we'll change up things a little bit in the stadium. But then running backs, we have running backs that's played. Mike Epstein is healthy. Reggie Corbin, of course, is each day he'll do something to show you how he can make people miss. Rayvon Bonner, Jakari Norwood. So we kind of like some things that they're doing. For the most part, if you look at minor injuries that you have, offensive line has been intact. Now you see that Kendrick Green, of course, is playing the guard position for us. Nick Algretti, Alec Pelchewski, Vidarian Lowe, Doug Kramer. So it's kind of good to keep offensive line playing together. So offensively, like where we are a little bit. Receiver-wise, working a lot of different personnel groupings, which is good. We could easily be a 4 wide receiver offense, 3 wide receiver offense, 2 running backs, 3 receivers. We have a lot of different combinations to go with, which helps quite a bit. Defensively, you know, our numbers are down a little bit, you know, and we're kind of banged up a little bit right now too. But our front, of course, they're coming back for their second year. They've done some good things. It's good to get Jake Hansen back, you know, back out on, you know, Jake's a good football player. Secondary-wise, playing a lot of young players back there too. So it's kind of where we are. Probably be better for me to just answer your questions. Floor is open.
How would you describe how those guys, the quarterbacks, have embraced that idea of good competition?
They've embraced it well. It's a close group. You can see when one player makes a good play, the others, of course, out there congratulate him. And you know, just the quarterback room has to be a tight room. They spend a lot of time together. All positions do, but quarterbacks a little bit more. They realize we don't have to tell them what's at stake. They all realize that. And they know when they get their opportunity, you need to make plays. And for our offense to have success, for our team to have success, you know, it's about protecting the football, making good decisions, protecting the football. With our offensive attack that we run, of course, it's a bad thing to ever see the ball on the ground. But our guys have embraced that role, and when we need to pass the football, been pleased, you know, for the most part with how we've done that.
Lovie, you guys added a lot of DBs, and you seem to have it tight. What do you think you added there, and what did you think you needed?
We did add a lot. We definitely felt like, you know, the numbers needed. We need to get our numbers up. The type, you know, you want the guys as tall as possible, long, good hips, speed, ball skills. Yesterday, thought the DBs took a step up. Today, offense definitely stepped it up. But those young players, Dylan Wyatt went down with a knee injury yesterday, but the rest of the guys, talking Ron Hart, Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, Delano Ware, all those young guys have had their moments and will get an opportunity to play.
Well, in terms of your 5 quarterbacks ready, at what point do you start paring that down? And do you think it'll be more than a 1 quarterback system?
Eventually, we want to have a quarterback. As far as when, I think the players tell you that. I mean, we haven't even practiced in the stadium yet. You know, less than a week or so into. We're not ready, of course, to make any of those type of decisions, but eventually we'll get down.
Those 3 freshman quarterbacks, have they shown you what you thought you would get when you recruited them?
Yes, you know, freshman quarterback's going to make freshman mistakes. They've done that. I think the guys have picked up the offense fairly well, all 3 of them. They can all throw. They're all mobile. So there's a type that we wanted, athletic type we wanted. Feel like we've gotten that. And the ones that have been in practice, you've seen the guys that maybe have completed a few more throws. You continue to play well, you'll get more reps.
Logistically, how do you, when there's such a big group competing at one position, how do you logistically, I guess, go through that? I mean, do you day by day rank them? Do you have like a point system? How do you look at leadership? Just get them all enough reps? How do you kind of handle all of that when it's such a big group?
Good question, and we try to do this at all positions, but quarterback position, we grade every play they have. Decision making, completion, incompletion, turnover. So you try to have concrete things to show them. Completion percentage, all of that daily. And really every drill, they get an evaluation. You like to be that way, with all positions, but quarterbacks into stats a little bit more. Offensive skill guys into that a little bit more. And I think that helps you make good decisions. A lot of times you think, me as a head football coach, I don't see every play. Turn around and see a guy that makes a good play. Say, hey, heck with practice. Well, let's go and look at total body of work. And that's what we're doing. So we do that daily, and as a cumulative grade that you'll also give the players.
Regarding the switch of Kendrick Green from defensive line to offensive line, how tough of a transition was that for him, and how do you think he's progressing in his new position?
If you're a defensive lineman, a lot of times defensive linemen don't necessarily want to play on the offensive line. And Kendrick Green, we thought as we recruited him, could do both. What you do is you look at your roster and see where you think a player, helps the team the most. And that was the case with Kendrick. Initially, he was okay with it, but he's embraced the role now. He's one of the guys. I thought he played well today, and we've seen steady progress with him. So you start drawing him up. He's athletic. He's tough. Everything you're really kind of looking for, we feel like he has. Now he needs to get experience. And we're giving him a lot of reps, of course, in practice.
When you say he was okay with it, does it mean that's a little begrudgingly?
No, he was okay with it. My bad word. He was pumped up when we talked to him. How was that?
That's quite a difference.
But really, when you're defensive lineman, and it's a little shock effect right away. So it was no more than that. But that was a long time ago. He's been, as he came into camp, he's, of course, bought in completely. Yes, sir.
What's your goal at the end of camp with the defensive line in terms of rotations? Seems like you're trying out a lot of combinations right now. Do you want to really establish first rotation, second rotation, or can it be a lot freer on the defensive side?
You can answer the question. As a general rule, you have to have 4 starters. We'll, just like we talk about evaluating the quarterbacks, we do that. Our individual drills, one-on-one, O-line, D-line, and just watching them through drills. But if you notice our practices, most of it has been team-type situations where you can get a great evaluation of them. But what we're going to do, we're going to eventually establish 4 starters, but we would like to play 8 defensive linemen at a minimum. Nowadays, college offenses are running a lot of plays, hurry up. It's taxing. So, that's our goal. It's more about finding out who we think we can win with, and they'll all get enough plays to prove exactly who they are.
Well, speaking of defensive line, I don't know if Tymir Albert is the number 1 guy people think what does he mean to your defense and your team?
Well, there are some guys. First off, he was voted captain last year, so that's his role off the field. And you guys that spend a little bit of time with Ty Muir, he's not going to talk your head off, But those kind of guys don't really go that far to me anyway. It's about a guy that shows up every day and does it the right way. Total effort each play. That's who he is. So on what position he'll be playing somewhere for us. And, we send the first group out. Tyler Oliver will be in that first group. And we know he's not going to surprise you in a bad way. We know what we're going to get from him every snap. And there's still young linemen coming into the mix. They're seeing exactly how you're supposed to do it.
What's that mean for a young team and a young group to have a steady?
Well, you're right, we're young, but, we have a few guys that are older. He's one of the oldest guys in the group, as you mentioned. So you need that. Young players don't really know. To have a great example, hey, follow him. When you're in doubt, don't quite know, look at Ty Muir. Follow him along, and if you're doing what he's doing, you're going to be okay. They picked up on that.
Justice Williams, another guy that switched sides of the ball. What was kind of the thought process between switching him and how you feel like his transition is going so far here in camp?
For us, as we came in, there were guys at certain positions. We went through a year. You kind of saw what they could do a little bit. And I think if you just stay on the football team, we see them show different skill throughout. What we saw from Justice on the defensive side is, one day we needed someone to help out running routes against the one defense, and he made play after play. Then you go back to his background. He's a receiver in high school, so it just made sense. He really came to me instead of me going to him. And, of course, yesterday, finish up practice, great catch. He has unbelievable ability, one of the strongest guys on our team, great student. So you want to find a role for players like that, and he's finding a role for himself.
Early prognosis on Jamal today going down?
Went down with a knee injury, whenever you stop practice and they walk off the field gingerly, it's not a good thing, but we'll see.
Coach, I saw a stat yesterday that 76% of your roster are underclassmen. I think it's the most in D1 football. What's some challenges there?
76%. If you don't know that, you just keep going on with your day. It doesn't.
Some challenges there. Is that something you envisioned? Did you envision overturning the roster and having a young team?
We envision coming in, bringing in good recruiting classes. When you change over, certain players leave your program. That's how it happens always. Exactly what percentage? Eventually the percentage will be 100% of the guys that we recruited, no more than that. So didn't quite realize, those were the numbers. I just know that last year we were really young. This year we're a lot older. Those players don't really look at themselves. They look at themselves as it's been around here a lot longer. We're not pleased with how we played, so flipping the roster a little bit should get better results. So that's a good thing.
Coach Michael Marquez was a guy who gave you a lot on the special teams last year. But what have you seen from him this year at safety? It seems like it's a whole different dynamic to that group.
When you're a young player coming in, you want reps. Hey, coach, give me a chance to prove what I can do. And normally, if you talk about defensive players, it's on special teams. And offensive guys sometimes too. Michael Marquez, against Purdue last year. He's gunner. Each week he was just there. And if you're a physical player, that comes out fairly quick too. So once we give you a couple of reps and you do well, you get more. And that's the case with him. And that, it's kind of natural position, of course, for him to be a safety. Tough guy, smart, does everything you ask. That's why he's getting reps.
What have you seen from the freshman defensive linemen? How did they look to this point?
Like freshmen, it's so early on. And, with a freshman, when you first get here, there's a lot of things going on. But just figuring out these guys haven't worked like this, it's a full day. But just learning what to do for you to have a chance to prove exactly who you are, that's what we're going through a little bit. Calvin Avery is a good football player. Got to get his weight down. We're working on that. We see progress. There are flashes. And that's what you want to see early on with young players, flashes. And we'll try to get them to play a little bit more consistent throughout. So again, like what they're doing right now. Zeke Holmes, same thing. We'll just keep getting them reps.
Which of the freshmen do you think is most ready or surpasses your expectations for readiness? the most?
I try not to talk about that a week into camp. Personnel-wise, we don't have a lot of personnel meetings the first week you form an opinion after a few plays. Our first big personnel meeting we'll have will be Sunday, where the guys have had an opportunity to play a little bit more. I just know a lot of the guys. It would be easy for me to say, who are you disappointed? I'm not disappointed in any of the freshmen. We felt that way last year. They played. And we feel the same way this year. So pleased with what all of the young players are doing. We have a chance.
Is the new redshirt rule that's in effect this year going to alter any, changes? You'll be able to look at somebody and then still have an opportunity to redshirt them if you don't feel like they're totally ready?
Yeah, but on how we're looking at the redshirt, first off, are you one of our best players? And do we need you early on? We feel like we need you early on to help us win games. If the answer is yes, we're going to go with it. There's a player that maybe hasn't come along as quick, we don't feel like is ready, we'll use that then. A lot of different ways you can. Sometimes you get in a bind where at a position, you just may need a guy to play a week or so. So we're going to use it that way. And if a player hasn't played early on and it's late in the year and we want to get a look at him and we feel like we're in a situation to do that, we will then. First off, though, not thinking about any of that, let's find the best players we have, see if they're ready to go.
Well, it doesn't feel just to have 2 recruiting classes, most of the roster that your staff recruits.
Feels good. I mean, we know these players too, and that's the thing. Even when you first get here, when the first year we hadn't gone through a cycle. Now recruiting starts so much earlier, so these players. Each year we know them. Spent more time getting to know them, so that's good. So we're pumped up, and again, what's good for us as a staff too, coming together for the first time, is what we thought. In most cases, has been the case on our evaluation at certain positions and all that.
Coach, this is the first time we really saw Rod Smith's offense with your full team this week. What has Rod brought to this offensive side of the ball, and what's Rod brought to your staff?
Well, that's easy to talk on after today's practice for sure, because every time I turn around, it seemed like, touchdown, which is good. As we talk about personnel groupings early on, a lot of flexibility with what we do with that. I think with what we want to be too. We want to have an athletic quarterback, read option type plays, all of those, exactly what I thought our offense would look like is what we've seen right now. Rod's a great guy. I think he, just his presence, energy, and he's got a background too. And guys really kind of buy into what this offense has done, the history behind it. We're taking steps with it.
So far with these guys in camp, are you seeing things that are different than what you've seen the past 2 seasons so far in camp at this point?
It's hard, you see this gray, I can kind of remember from day to day a little bit. I just know what we have right now. Pleased with where we are. Players that we got with early on, we've seen progress from them. The improvements that our team has had to make, everything we've asked them to do, they've done. So just, excited about taking the next step together. We're not the same team as we were before. Not the same team we were last year. This is a better football team. And in time, we'll be able to show that. Each week we get a little bit closer.
Coach, what does Nick Allegretti mean to your team in terms of leadership and kind of off the field things?
Well, I think, we talked about Tymir Oliver being Tymir defensive leader, defensive captain last year. Nick Allegretti, of course, is the offensive captain, leader. But I think then you have a team leader. And on our team, it's kind of established. Coaches don't name a guy. We eventually will name captains, but it's established in the program, and that's the case with Nicky. in order for you to be the captain, you need to do everything right, pretty much, and be counted upon. And I don't think you can necessarily be that team leader if you're not playing. So you need to be on the football field playing. And they're going to expect a certain type of play each snap. And then for us as coaches, want the team to behave this way. Things come up, head coach to a player is Nicky. And that guy has to be comfortable too. Coming to me, coach, how about this? Can we do that? When you get in that role, you do listen to him. So Nick has been that way since I got here. He's exactly what you want, being in that number one position on your football team.
Lovie, do you lean more at all on some of these underclassmen, given the smaller number of seniors, for leadership? Do you encourage them to lead in a different way than you would in number one?
Now, when we talk about leadership, to me, you have to be self-motivated. We expect everybody to do what they're supposed to. We have rules. Expect everybody to go by that. So in a way, you're leading. We do expect our young players. You don't get a mulligan for, hey, I'm just got on campus. I'm young. I'm a freshman. No, that's not how we see it. We want them to behave like they've been around a while. We establish the rules and expect everybody to go by.
Coach Gilbert on the defensive side, you gave him the title, I think, passing defensive coordinator when you hired him. He seems really involved out there on the field. How much is he meant?
Gilbert has a track. We all have a track record. Gil has it off the field. Talk about first. Just great man. I make the statement. He's as good a man as I've been around. When you bring that as a teacher, he's an excellent teacher. He has credibility, but being in the game for so long. But he knows how to relate to players. Our philosophy defensively is, meshes. So a lot of trust in him. When you have young players, you need guys like that, that really believe in what we're doing. He does, and everything. Again, I didn't have to wonder about him. I know exactly what to expect from him in every situation that comes up.
How Dorsey and Isaiah Gay responded to this spring?
They've responded well. Young people make mistakes, and I'm a granddad, father. Young people make mistakes. There's punishment that goes along with it, but it's not normally a death sentence. A life sentence. Those guys took care of business, came back, wanted to come back to our football team, ready to go, and they both, you've noticed them. Isaiah Gay has a chance. He's an excellent speed rusher, strong guy. Isaiah Gay, when he came in, when we recruited him, weighed 200 pounds. He's over 220. He's put over 20 pounds on in a year. So there's a lot of good things that those guys are doing, and again, they've learned from some of their mistakes.
Coach, any update on Kevon Myers?
I'm sorry.
Any update on Kevon?
Good question. Yes, making progress still. Not quite with us. We're hopeful to get him in soon. How's that?
In terms of progression, is this kind of where you saw your team being 7 days in the game?
Yeah. I think we're, ideally as a coach, you would like to have 0 injuries, 7 days in the camp. The guys are picking up. We have a lot of the situations in, most of the situations in. Again, I talked about how many team plays we've had. Nothing to really complain about. We just need the rest of the practices. It's a process, and I thought the offense really took a step today. Defense, that's how, take a hit, punch back and forth, and that's what we've had in camp, and can't wait to finish it.
Coach, we've seen a lot of sophomores improve a lot off of that freshman year, but not as many as Owen Carney has. What type of impact has he brought to that defensive end? What's his ceiling?
Owen Carney's ceiling. You can say that about all of the freshmen a little bit. Talented guys, been in the program, been good program guys, done everything we've asked them to do in the weight room. Owen Carney's case in the classroom. Eventually, just better and better play as much as anything. I know Owen is excited. most of those freshmen can't really remember what happened. So now they have a better grasp of what's getting ready to happen for them. And so we need him to be a force on the outside. He, along with Bobby Roundtree, mentioned Isaiah Gay. So I feel like we'll get that. They'll have an opportunity.
When you compare his experience versus, say, maybe Ray Oladipo, who had a red shirt, sat out, he seems to have made a lot of strides in the offseason, playing as a freshman versus red shirt.
I don't, in the big picture, I don't know. Kendrick Green, same situation. He and Larry Oladipo sit out. Both of them now are in the mix. They both have 4 years to play and help the University of Illinois win. It's tough for them then, but once you get to this spot now, I don't really know. I know that we can't wait to see those two players that haven't played, but experience has to help you. That's why a guy like Isaiah Gay and all those other freshmen that played, it's not first time. They know what to expect, and that should lead to better play immediately from them.
Differences have you maybe seen in your offensive line, just given the fact that that group returned to basically attack after playing a full year together?
Right now, it's early in the game still. What we've seen is them working together as a group. Coach Buck is doing a good job with them. We're adding things, daily. Beyond that, it's just, guys, you get to training camp. It's not a whole lot of that. It's just steady. You need steady play. That's what you need. Go to meetings, go to practice, lift, start the routine over again. That's what they've been doing over and over. They know the drills. If Coach Buck has decided to take off a period, the guys would know exactly what they need to do. So that's what we've seen from the offensive line. That's the same. They're the last group start. They don't take the field unless they're together. They do everything together. So right now we just want them to continue to get that kind of bond.
Along with Calvin Avery, Burgess Brown, another guy you're kind of working, playing shape. Just how do you feel like he's progressed throughout camp?
Well, I think they're making plays. They're talented players that, again, when you're a freshman, you don't really know. A lot of times you don't know what you don't know. But you go to work. They're coachable. And they have, Coach Clark, Coach Fotu are doing a great job with them. So they're making progress. Those guys are going to play for us. And it's kind of neat to see the improvements that they've made. First about getting in stances and all that, learning how to play hard. That's kind of subjective. Everybody think you know how to play hard until you actually get here. But they're going through those channels.